This is Tim Stewart from Visual Decisions. Today, we're going to talk about how the traditional principles of lean manufacturing change with the move to digital. So, I first encountered lean manufacturing back in the 1990s when I was working as a system supplier to Toyota. I learned quite a bit about the Toyota production system over the years, and I learned that directly from my interactions with the teams over the years I worked with them. Additionally, I studied all that I could find about uh, the Toyota production system from books from Taiichi Ono and other designers of the Toyota production system. When Womack and Jones released their books in the 1990s about lean manufacturing, they codified many of the principles I learned from Toyota over the years. The five principles you see here are the ones they defined in their seminal work on lean thinking. First is define value. This principle emphasizes understanding what constitutes value from the customer's perspective. It's about identifying the features, functionalities of a product or service that customers are willing to pay for, as well as the activities within the manufacturing process that directly helps to deliver those features. Mapping the value stream. Once value is defined, the next step is to map the entire process involved in creating that value. This includes identifying all the steps from raw materials to finished product delivery, creating flow after mapping the value stream. It's critical to ensure a smooth and uninterrupted flow of materials and information throughout the process. This involves eliminating bottlenecks and delays that can cause inefficiencies. Establish pull. Lean manufacturing operates on a pull system where production is driven by actual customer demand. This helps to avoid overproduction and excess inventory, which can be both costly and wasteful. Finally, seek perfection. Lean is a continuous improvement process. It's about constantly striving to eliminate waste and improve efficiency in all aspects of production. This involves empowering employees and encouraging them to identify and suggest improvements. Over the years since the early 2000s, these principles have been restated in different ways, and other principles have been listed in conjunction with these. For example, I often see the elimination of waste or standardized work listed as separate principles. But for this talk, I'm going to focus on these old school principles. The discussion about the switch to digital applies just as well to any of the principles that are listed here. When we move to the principles underlying digital lean, we find that those principles are the same. The pursuit of these principles may change with the many additional tools of digital lean, but the goals and the principles are the same as those of regular lean. Let's take a deeper look at each of these principles one at a time to see how we change our approach to each one. Also, in the coming weeks, I'll be taking a deeper dive into each principle on its own. As I mentioned earlier, this principle of defining value is all about identifying value from the customer perspective. This means understanding the difference between what the customer is willing to pay for and what is non-value add. From a product point of view, analyses such as the Kano model show us that there are product features that are expectations or table stakes, while there are some features that are high value add for the customer. Meanwhile, there are things in the product that the customer really does not value at all. It has often been difficult in the past to determine which is which in the past. Modern solutions give us tools such as sentiment analysis that uses data from multiple different sources, such as social media, to provide customer insights that were inaccessible before. Advances in artificial intelligence are making these data analytics for customer insights more accurate than ever. Connected products can also generate insights that were never available in the past. For those products that are able to send back usage data, companies can see which features are being used by customers and which are not. This can provide great insight into what customers will really value in the product going forward. Also, the closer production can come to being truly personalized, the more the product will align with what the customer values. Modern technologies such as 3D printing and flexible manufacturing can bring this closer to a reality in many. It's a time consuming, labor intensive project. Once it is completed, it becomes a valuable tool for differentiating between the value add and the non value add activities within the organization. However, it is a static picture and often does not capture the full complexity of the product flow. However, this can be done automatically through digital tools. Although I've only heard of this being done in custom solutions, the capabilities are there for any company to build this. And if any vendors are listening, please contact me if you believe your solution can do this out of the box. I can point you to a number of companies that would love to have it. But here's how to build your own. You'll need three primary solutions: a machine monitoring solution, a solution that tracks material movement throughout the facility, and a digital twin solution to bring it together. If the product BOM and routing information is brought in from the MES or ERP solutions, you would have everything you need to automatically create your value stream maps within the four walls of the facility. The machine monitoring solutions will provide detail of how long each job is taking within a given process. Although this may need to be supplemented with a video analytics solution if you have many manual processes within your plant so that you can track cycle times within those processes. Advanced material tracking solutions can identify how long materials are spending between the different operations, and digital twin can pull all of this information together to display the live picture of your value stream map. However, the digital map is also far more useful than the static one. First off, it will be more accurate for analysis. Every time a product goes through the process, the times of each operation and between each step are captured and added into the analysis. This not only shows the amount of time that materials normally take or how long they're supposed to take, but it shows how long they actually take and the full distribution of those times as well. It could also act as a live management tool that could highlight deviations from the expected route, whether due to rework or manual workarounds on the shop floor. It could highlight when materials are stuck between processes longer than expected. All in all, it becomes a fantastic management tool to visualize what is happening, what is supposed to happen, and what actually has happened in the plant at the current moment and throughout history. In order to extend the analysis beyond your four walls, you'll need some additional data collection to help the analysis. You'll need to collect information from warehousing, logistics, and really across the entire supply chain to get that picture. But the technology is out there today to make all of that happen. Principle three is all about freeing up the flow of materials through the facility. Ideally, this is done by organizing production into single piece flow through automated work cells. The advanced automation and robotics capabilities in third and fourth generation manufacturing can be of great benefit in making that happen. But even where production cannot be organized this way, the goal here is to remove bottlenecks, interruptions, and delays that disrupt the flow. Establishing continuous flow is critical for efficiency and eliminates waste associated with waiting, inventory, and overproduction. The digital twin of the value stream from the last slide is of great value in identifying where these bottlenecks are occurring within the production process. Simulation capabilities exist within many of these solutions to test different layouts and flows within the facility to break these bottlenecks and to improve the overall flow. One critical disruption to flow is when machines have unplanned downtime. Machine monitoring solutions and predictive analytics can be very effective in reducing these disruptions to the flow within the facility. Also, many manufacturing operations exist in very high mix environments and cannot organize into clean value stream cells. For these facilities, advanced planning and scheduling solutions can be very useful for optimizing the flow of materials and minimizing delays through the production process. In these cases, look for solutions that can import data directly from the shop floor and then utilize that information for fast replanning when conditions change due to downtime or other unexpected disruptions. Traditional push-based manufacturing resulted in a great deal of inventory and waste throughout the manufacturing process. Just-in-time and pull manufacturing has addressed many of these issues to reduce inventory levels, overproduction, and other wastes. Pull has often been achieved through manual card-based Kanban systems. While these are still effective in many manufacturing environments, they do have some shortcomings. It can be difficult to manage the purchase of materials in environments with long and or highly variable material lead times. And in manufacturing environments with very high mix and a very large number of items, stocking a Kanban of these items can present difficulties too. E-Kanban systems can help address some of those issues, but in some cases, it may be necessary to implement other approaches. There are pull-based planning and scheduling systems that can help in those complex environments. Advanced forecasting can play a big role. The ideal situation in manufacturing is that materials are only produced when the customer places an order. This is possible in highly repetitive manufacturing environments, but many companies are not able to achieve this ideal. AI-driven forecasting solutions can be of a benefit here. The closer the forecast is to the customer demand, the closer the alignment can be with production. Finally, the fifth principle is the pursuit of perfection. Zero defects may not be a realistic target, but the pursuit of ever increasing levels of quality should be the goal. This is where perhaps the cleanest benefits of or clearest benefits of a digital lean approach are evident. The number of supporting use cases here are just legion. I've picked out a few for this presentation, but this is really a small sample of what's available. First of all, quality issues are ultimately the result of excess variation somewhere in the process. AI-based analytics can help identify where that variability is entering into the process and the ultimate root causes. These analytics can be fed through detailed machine monitoring solutions that have been discussed many times so far. Additionally, video analytics can be immensely valuable to identify when deviations from standard work are occurring and highlight these in the analysis. When deviations do occur, vision systems can help to catch the non-conforming material much more effectively in many cases than manual inspections. Additionally, many of these solutions can be tied into Pokio or error proofing effort. Pick-to-light solutions have been available for many years, but very interesting work is being done with augmented reality solutions to take this to the next level. In addition, there are solutions available now that project the work instructions directly on the surface so that even novice operators can perform the work error. And again, this is merely scratching the surface for what can be done with digital lean solutions in pursuit of perfection. That's it for today. Once again, I'll be doing a deep dive into each of these principles in the coming weeks. Thank you for your time and attention. If you have questions or would like to talk about how to apply these concepts within your company, please reach out to us. You can give us a call, send us an email, or go to this link to set up directly. With that, we don't seem to have any questions in the chat. So thank you for your time today, and please reach out. Love to talk. Thanks.